The Virginia Conference Historical Society of the United Methodist Church is a non-stock corporation made up of all the ministers and members of the churches of the Virginia Annual Conference, whose purpose is to collect, preserve, and disseminate information, and to collect and preserve materials and property related to the history of Methodism in Virginia and elsewhere. The Board of Trustees and officers of the Historical Society are keenly interested in the history and heritage of the United Methodist Church in Virginia as it continues to influence the present day. Ours is a vibrant history of the pioneers of Methodism in America, who literally rode out in faith to the wilderness places to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ. Physical traces of that history remain, including the old stone church site in Leesburg, which was the first Methodist-owned property in America, and the Adams Wren Waters Cemetery in McLean, where the first American-born itinerant minister, William Waters, and his wife are buried. Visiting these weathered touchstones urges a deeper consideration of the pioneers of our faith, including those courageous circuit riders, some being immigrants to America and others native-born, following closely on the heels of the early settlers during and after Revolutionary times to minister and to establish churches. The so-called cradle of Methodism, known today as the Brunswick Circuit, was once the largest circuit and still holds the claim for being the longest continuing circuit in American Methodism, with those several churches still bearing the name Brunswick, proud of their heritage, still proclaiming the wonders of God's grace, and still claiming to be the originators of the now famous Brunswick stew. Focusing on that region, the Old Brunswick Circuit Foundation is actively working to preserve and interpret sites such as the foundational footprint of Ebenezer Academy, claimed to be the first Methodist school in America, near Warfield. Just south of Lawrenceville, we find the home of Irish-born Reverend Edward Drumgoole, which is a fairly well-preserved two-story structure, amazing in its architectural detail, which is believed to be the only circuit rider home still in existence within the Virginia Conference, a place where the Reverend Francis Asbury often stayed when itinerating in the area. Also important is the original site of Randolph-Macon College in Boynton, where a number of future college presidents received their education. When Randolph-Macon moved to Ashland, the Boynton Institute was established on the old campus and provided education over a 50-year period to African Americans, some of whom became well-known civil rights leaders in the struggle against racism. Even as the Conference Historical Society cares for these important properties, it also oversees the publication of Heritage, a semi-annual booklet that tells in every issue the intriguing stories of how God has inspired the people called Methodists to make disciples across the generations. Perhaps the greatest resource of the Society is the Conference Archives, located in the United Methodist Center in Glen Allen. We are blessed to have Stephanie Davis as a part-time archivist, supported in part by the Patty Russell Endowment, which was established in memory of Patty's many years as volunteer archivist to help fund this important position. Stephanie would welcome your visit to the archives to view the treasures within the movable storage walls that house them. The Society is committed to protecting and preserving significant historical sites and caring for important primary resources, while making visits to these sites user-friendly through interpretive materials available at each location. We even plan conference-wide field trips to visit sites such as the recent sea journey to Tangier Island for a reenactment portraying Joshua Thomas parson to the islands during the first half of the 1800s. Time limits a fuller presentation of all that the Historical Society does to resource local churches, but much more can be learned by visiting our website and discovering ways your church can bring history alive to a new generation.